Good afternoon. We're so glad that you're here. This is Tuesday's Tips and Talks. I am Holly Jennings, the owner of Premier Senior Consultants.
And I'm Katie Thomaston. I am the Community Resource Advisor and Senior Living Advisor here.
Awesome, yeah.
So today I thought what we would do is we would take a little bit of time and talk about the Alzheimer Dementia Resource Center and just, what it means to us. I recently have gone through my grandmother being diagnosed with vascular dementia and my mom taking care of her or trying to in that process.
Yes.
And I know, Holly, you have some special love for it too. So I just thought we'd take a little time and talk about it.
Well, that would be great. This is a great afternoon for that.
Yeah.
So, like Katie said, the Alzheimer's Resource Dementia Center, or ADRC, was founded in 1982, so they are going on 40 years of serving seniors, which is awesome. And I happen to sit on the board as a board of directors, and I've been with them probably, I think, since 2019, so coming up on a few years there too. But it's true that it's a really big organization that we're very passionate about, and I'll tell you what really has always impressed me and laid on my heart is they truly care about caregivers. And I know there's a lot of organizations out there that do. They do have an association with the Brain Bank, so there is some research that they do get involved in, but really their focus is to help the caregivers and the one that's going along their dementia journey. So that's really why we at Premier Senior Consultants really love partnering with them.
Yeah. So we just, I know they just had their gala.
Yes.
And that turned out fabulous. You guys were able to raise so much money to help with support groups and all those different things that they do in the community. So
absolutely.
How much were you guys able to raise?
It was wonderful. The numbers are kind of coming in to firm up, but we already know that we raised at least $250,000.
That's so amazing.
$250,000 plus. So what a great opportunity to be able to give that back into the community. And you're right, they do. They provide support groups. They have a resource center. They have other people that they partner with when you need certain things. Like us, for instance, we help find the senior living options when it's time maybe for someone to move into assisted living or memory care. So yes, they're just such a wonderful organization. We're going to make sure that we put it in the chat box so you'll know how to reach them.
Yes. So, and I know you and I, we've recently gotten our dementia certification as a certified dementia care partner. So
Yes.
I think that's something really kind of unique about us, and something that I love is because we know, specific things that we're able to kind of cue in on when we're talking with clients to go, hey, maybe it's time to look at some testing, or, have you guys looked into these things? So, that's one thing I really like. So why don't you tell people some of the things that may, you may look for and go, maybe this is
That's a good thing, and that comes up a lot. We get a lot of initial calls where it's usually an adult child maybe that is recognizing some things with their loved one, and it's good to kind of be aware of the signs. There is a thing, and even not in a clinical sense, but old age dementia. Old age dementia, we're all going to end up usually dealing with, and that's okay. That's part of the process of just getting older. However, the signs that you really kind of need to be aware of is, let's say you go visit your mom or dad and you open the fridge and you see just moldy food, things that have expired. Another thing that we also see is, maybe layering of clothes or wearing soiled clothes where they're not really keeping the good hygiene, or they don't recognize that maybe it's time to change, maybe it's time to wash this. Those are things that really we get concerned about. Then we go even further where we've had people find car keys in the freezer, or someone blows something up in the microwave, right?
Yes.
That shouldn't have used it.
Yes, definitely. And then, even a step further, if, I've had people call me and, their mom is really paranoid. She thinks someone was in her house or in her room, or, she's having delusions that something has happened. These are all signs that you may not realize that these things are part of the dementia.
Exactly.
But they're really signs that you should investigate further.
Right. Because I think some people are kind of waiting for, well, my mom's never gotten lost, or he hasn't driven somewhere and can't get back. Well, that is part of the process, but sometimes wandering is never an issue. It's these things we're mentioning.
It is. And dementia is different for every single person.
Yes.
So what stands to reason for one person is going to be totally different for another.
I would agree.
Everything is on an individual case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
And, there's so many types of dementia, and a lot of them are really difficult. They have certain things that come along with them. So I know I've had a couple of clients that have a really rare disease.
Yes.
That's part of that. And, I helped one lady. Her husband was in a small assisted living, and he said, "Oh, you've got to go to skilled nursing." And I was able to help her find a small community that could meet his care needs, that understood, and that was really made such a difference to her. She called me later so thankful.
Yes.
And then I had another client call, and they're like, my dad has this really rare disease, and told me what it was, and I said, "Oh, I helped somebody with that."
Yeah. So then you've seen that, right?
So I think that's just a really neat thing about us.
I would agree, and she brings up a good point. A lot of people don't realize is that when it is kind of time to be looking for a memory care or assisted living, it can be overwhelming, and that's what we're here for. But a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of different kinds of options. There's small homes. A lot of people don't realize, right? Residential. And then, of course, the larger communities that you may be more familiar driving by, and seeing. But sometimes one is not the right fit for the other.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And I think, too, a lot of people don't realize, even within the small home realm, that there's a difference between a small home memory care and a small home assisted living.
Very good point.
And so, it's really great, looking at all those things. And,
yes.
I know I definitely love it. I feel like every time I help a client, I'm, I'm learning more and growing and.
For sure. No, it really is true. And that's why we want, we always do these educational series every other week. And it's for you guys to know what's out there and not feel like you're alone, because we're here to help you. And even if you're not ready for that next step of a move, we have the resources that can maybe even keep you home a little longer, or at least walk alongside you until we find the right solution for you, because we don't want you to wait till you're in a crisis.
No, you really don't. And, to that, what you said, I think one of the things that kind of drove us to have this desire to put out these educational videos is when my mom was going through this process and learning everything going on with my grandmother and taking care of her. She said, "How do people do this if they don't have a daughter like you that does this?" And I said, I really don't know. It's really hard.
Right.
And so I think that's one of those things that kind of, for me, said, "Hey, let's start the series."
Yes.
Just to educate people.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope that kind of helped you a little bit and just kind of give you some reminders or things to think about. If you're starting to see some signs, there's a lot that can be offered to you. Again, like we talked about, the ADRC is a great resource. They have the caregiver groups, they have the resource center. There's somebody there to provide some support. And then we'll also walk alongside you as well and kind of help you look at those options for when the time is right and maybe a move needs to be made, whether it's for safety or it just may be. Sometimes, I'll mention quickly too, is a lot of people will show signs of dementia, and when they move, it actually improves, which is a surprise to some. But here's the thing. They're not isolated anymore. They're getting the socialization they need. They're getting the food. They're getting the nutrition and all those things. And you would be surprised that we've seen a big turnaround sometimes, right?
Definitely. So, and that socialization makes such a difference.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest component, especially when we were helping people through COVID. That isolation was making them feel like they were really becoming more forgetful, having more memory issues, and it's because they were just alone too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we're going to keep our information in the chat box, and we'll also put in ADRC so you'll know how to reach all of us.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it and hope we could help you out a little bit, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.